What's going on, everybody? This is Living in Arizona Now, and today we're going to talk about the sparsely populated areas you may consider moving to get away from the hustle and bustle of the big cities. First up, here we are at Monument Valley, up in the northeastern part of the state. Most of Monument Valley is occupied by the Navajo Nation. Now, the Navajo Nation is big, so you may see it again on this list. But there's also other residents who actually live up here. Sheep herders, people who do art, tourism industry workers also live up here. And then there's people who just absolutely love living in sparsely populated areas. And as you can see, Monument Valley definitely has sparsely populated areas looking in all directions. You won't even see city lights. You'll see occasional lights, but that's usually a small house or maybe even a small village, but really not very densely populated up here. It actually borders with Utah to the north, so much of Monument Valley is actually located in southern Utah, another area of the country that's sparsely populated. A lot of people move out to southern Utah to get away from the modern world because you can really find isolation and peace and serenity out here, where at nighttime or in the afternoons, there's not very many people to be seen in either direction. Some of you are looking for that kind of solitude, and that's why we're making these kind of videos. By the way, if you guys want us to continue to do these deep dives into places where it's remote and secluded, let us know in the comments. Now here we are at Mojave County. This is in the northwestern part of the state, right there along the Colorado River Basin area. You could cross that Colorado and be into Nevada towards the northwest, or California towards the direct west. For those of you who know about Death Valley, you know it's in the Mojave Desert. Well, this is Arizona's portion of the Mojave. Now out here you're going to have cities or villages. You're going to have places like Kingman, which is the largest city. Kingman's actually closer to Las Vegas than it is to Phoenix. Also, you're going to have places like Oatman and several other areas that are really remote and not too much going on out here. They're old mining boom towns, really, that have been abandoned. They're almost like ghost towns, although they're sparsely populated. And if you're going to live out here in this area, you're going to find lots of seclusion and remote lifestyle. You can buy property out here and you can end up with a 3 to 4 to 5 acre piece of property for a lot cheaper price than you would find anywhere around Phoenix Metro. This area is mostly famous for Route 66. That's why you'll see lots of highway driving around here, because once you get off the highway and you get onto those dirt roads, there's not much out here. Now, a little bit further south of Monument Valley is going to be the Navajo Nation. So this area is mostly northern Arizona, starting around the area of Petrified Forest and then working its way north towards Monument Valley. If you come up here, you'll see some towns that you may not be able to get to because the Navajo Nation is not considered under the jurisdiction of the United States. So even though we're mentioning this area, it's not going to be possible for most of you to live out here in most of the Navajo Nation area. But if you can get on the outside of the Navajo Nation, maybe in places like Page or some of the other areas around, say, Antelope Canyon, which is actually not a place you can live, but you get the idea. It's that region, right? Horseshoe Bend, the Grand Canyon area, which we'll also be talking about a little later on. It's very sparsely populated up here in the far northern part of the state. By the way, if you go on any one of the websites like Zillow or any of these real estate websites, you can search properties in any one of these regions and get price information for property or homes. This area we're exploring here is called the Mogollon Rim. I would call this north central Arizona. This is going to be pine country, so you're going to find some trees up here that you're not going to see in places like Monument Valley, the Mojave Desert, or in the Navajo Nation area. So expect a lot of greenery up here. You're going to see bear, elk, and other types of wildlife that live up here. People who live up here are usually looking to cool down and get some snow in the winter time. It's common for people to actually live up here in the summertime because the temperatures in Phoenix are a whole lot hotter than they're going to be up here, sometimes 20 to 30 degree difference. I would say this is a really good place to go camping, especially if you want to get outside of even campgrounds. Basically the biggest city or town, basically the biggest village or town here is Forest Lakes Estates. I would imagine this is going to be a place that's going to grow a lot over time, but right now it's still very small. And now we're in southwestern Arizona. This here is the Yuma Desert area. So out here, it's very dry, very hot, right next to the Colorado River, close to Mexico. There are some benefits to being down this far south, but really it is just hot. And people come down here for the winter weather because this has got to be the sunniest place in the entire country. So people come down here to this area to retire 6 months out of the year during the winter months. The biggest city down here is going to be Yuma, but there's also the Fortuna Foothills, which is definitely a retirement area. Then you have Somerton. If you go a little bit further south, you have San Luis Rio, Colorado. But north of here is the Kofa National Wildlife Refuge and nothing but wide open spaces. The smallest town around here, or the biggest town around here, would be Dateland or Gila Bend. Something else to know about this area, there was a bombing range down here called Barry Goldwater Bombing Range. It's not active anymore, but you get an idea of what kind of terrain you're really dealing with. You know, a lot of this Arizona desert and highlands were considered wastelands. As you know, same with what happened in Nevada up in Area 51. But now people are moving down here, so it has value, which means that another market should be open to those of you who are real estate investors. If you like any of these areas and you think they have potential, maybe you can make some investments because you realize Arizona is growing. Of course, there's always that lingering question about, does Arizona have enough water? As you can see, the Colorado River right here runs dry by the time it gets to Yuma. Now we're actually going to stay down south here along the border. We're just going to go one county over, and this here is Pima County. Now Tucson is the largest city in Pima County, but if you go south of Tucson, you'll see in Green Valley you have Tubac, you have Tumacari, and then if you wrap around Mount Wrightson, you have Patagonia, the Patagonia Lake area, a very beautiful place. But up in the foothills, you have places like Rio Rico, Nogales, and then you go all the way around and you see Arizona wine country, and it is wide open spaces. Now you do have the Tohono O'odham Reservation down here, and you have a lot of mining down by the towns of Y and Ajo, and then further south along the border there you have the Organ Pipe National Monument, which is actually these very unique cactuses that grow here. The thing that really stands out to me down here in southern Arizona is it gets really a bit hot in the summer for a bit, and then the monsoons do arrive, which cool it down and make for pleasant summers, actually very interesting summers. Of course it's going to be hot, but it's nice to get that monsoon in the late evening. Then in the winter time it gets very cold down here, so they freeze. That's something that you have to keep in mind if you're trying to do a garden or something. Now, if you're someone who just wants to visit Arizona and check out sparsely populated areas, I like it down here, especially in the fall or in the springtime, because the weather is perfect and it's a bit greener desert. I really like a lush desert, and this is one of those deserts. Hiking, camping, relaxing, chilling out. This is where you want to bring the RV for at least 2 or 3 days to start, but you might end up liking it and staying 7 days or maybe a couple months, who knows. All right, now we're headed back up north again to northern Arizona. This here is beyond the Grand Canyon at Kaibab Vermillion Cliffs. So this is far north Arizona. It's above the Grand Canyon. You could call this the North Rim, and it's a very unique terrain up here because you start out low in some sort of desert areas with these beautiful cliffs, and then you rise up in elevation, and then you're in this pine country, this beautiful thick pines. They even have bison up here. It's really beautiful. Down around the Vermillion Cliffs, it's really otherworldly. It almost looks like Mars down here. That's what's interesting about this place, but it's definitely sparsely vegetated and sparsely populated. Some of it is part of a national monument, so you couldn't even live here if you wanted, but there are some little villages, if you go on a map, that you'll see around here that kind of pop up up towards Utah also. And if you go down towards the Colorado River, you've got a lot of history, but a lot of rafting and other activities begin here because this is basically the upper Grand Canyon area. And inside here, you're going to find Lee's Ferry. That's a famous historical area where a man used to take people across the river. But nowadays, it's just a place to hang out and even put your boat in the river. Typically, a kayak or a canoe or maybe even a raft for some whitewater rafting as you enter into the Grand Canyon. Now here we are back in southern Arizona, but this time we're in southeastern Arizona. This here is Cochise County. This is where the Chiricahua Mountains are. They've got Cave Creek, not the Cave Creek north of Phoenix, but another town called Cave Creek. And then they have a place where you can see stars very abundantly, also Portal. Now last time I was in Portal, they were telling me that every person that ever comes down here, they always say, how much is property down here? I want to live out here. Well, it's so far away from everything. Literally, Tucson is the closest city in Arizona, and that's about 3 hours away. And then the biggest city nearby is actually Silver City, New Mexico. So it's kind of an interesting situation out here in Portal. It's very remote, and it's just north of the border. This is actually where they've been known to see the jaguar that lives in Arizona. That one was caught on trail cam, and it's called El Jefe. It does migrate between different mountain ranges down here in the south, but this is one of the areas where a trail cam spotted a jaguar. And you can see, even as we're driving on this road into Cave Creek, which is the canyon that you're seeing off in the distance here, there's no cars. I mean, once you get in there, you're going to see some people camping, but there's not a lot of people down here. And it is really beautiful countryside. And you will see wildlife in here aside from coyotes, some deer. Actually, when I was down here, I was seeing deer all over the place. You also see some goats and horses. And of course, there is going to be pumas out here, as well as bobcats. Also known as one of the best places for bird watching in all of the country, right here. So anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this video and you're looking forward to more videos from our channel, let us know in the comments what you want to see. Also, subscribe to the channel, turn on that bell for notifications when all of our videos come out so you don't miss any, including lives. And we will see you on the next one with the best things to do in Arizona, as well as a video related to Phoenix next.